I would like to take a few minutes to talk about the history of Java and where it came from and how it got to where it's at today. Sun Microsystems started a project called Oak back in 1990. The language they created would later become Java. They thought at the time that the next big thing in computer programming was being able to program consumer devices like your TV or your CD player or your phone. The desire was that they would write one language that we could use just about anywhere, regardless of the operating system or the hardware on the device. It didn't quite turn out that way because they were a little early. We know now today that phones use Java, and like DVD players all run Java for their control systems. But they were just a little bit early in 1990 for that to really take hold. However, the research turned out to be valuable because at the same time the web was starting to explode. And the power of Java for multimedia on the web in those early days was a big deal. So what they started doing was creating applets, little tiny computer programs that you could embed into a web page, and people could play games. I remember back in those days playing little game applets that people had written. You couldn't do a whole lot with web pages at the time, so applets were really, really cool. So they caught on really quickly. In 1995, Netscape put Java into its web browser. They put support for the Java language, and it just took off. It was a big thing, both for Java and for Netscape. And that was kind of the beginning of really launching Java into the mainstream. Okay. Of course, they kept developing it, and eventually those devices did start using Java. Later on, when that part of our modern society started to grow. In 2010, Oracle bought Sun Microsystems, and as a result, since Oracle owns the old company, they also got Java with it. And we are currently on version 16 of Java. And that's going to be important here in a little bit. When we go to install our software, what version do we want to get? We'll talk about that. Okay. Currently, Java is one of the most used and popular computer programming languages in the world. It's a global standard. It's used everywhere from phones to supercomputers, everything in between. You can find it everywhere. There's billions and billions of devices that run Java, and there are millions of developers programming in Java, and there's a need for more. It was, I believe, the second most popular programming language for quite some time, right behind C. I believe Python has been growing, and I believe Python may have taken over second place, and Java's in a close third right now. But they are still both two of the most popular. They may actually go back and forth from month to month on what people think is the most popular, depending on who's doing the survey.